Hello, listeners. We're full blown into the summer season. How are you spending your time before the school year starts? Well, if you're on a road trip, cozied up in your sun chair, or taking a walk on a sunny day, I've got the perfect episode for you. As you know, this summer I'm sharing a couple of podcast episodes from other feeds while the TTE team is working on next season. This one comes from the Joy Lab podcast feed. It's a mental health podcast to help navigate depression, anxiety, burnout, grief, and stress. Hosts Dr. Henry Emmons and Dr. Amy Prasek share practical, mindfulness-based tools and positive psychology strategies to build resilience and create lasting joy. In this episode, the hosts explore the theme of gratitude, specifically focusing on the nurturing roles of mothers and other caregivers in our lives. They discuss the concept of good enough parenting, as introduced by Dr. Donald Winnicott, emphasizing that parents don't need to be perfect, but should provide sufficient love and care. I absolutely love this episode because it addresses some of my favorite topics: mothers, gratitude, good enoughness as opposed to perfectness, and my all-time favorite psychoanalytic theorist, Donald Winnicott. The hosts are smart, wise, kind, and compassionate, and every episode, like this one, is super informative and useful. You can listen to Joy Lab wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget that this summer, and actually year-round, you can also find me on Substack at teachingthroughemotions.com. Get in touch, share your story. I really want to hear from you. Now, without further ado, let's get into the episode. I really hope you enjoy it.
Welcome to the Joy Lab podcast, where we help you uncover and foster your most joyful self. Your hosts, Dr. Henry Emmons and Dr. Amy Prasek, bring you the ideal mix of soulful and scientifically sound tools to spark your joy, even when it feels dark. When you're ready to experiment with more joy, combine this podcast with the full Joy Lab program over at joylab.coach.
Hello, I'm Henry Emmons, and welcome back to Joy Lab.
And I'm Amy Prasek. So we are in our element of gratitude, and we're talking about gratitude for our moms today, but moms with a capital M, I'd say. So like all that has nurtured us, gratitude for the people, creatures, environments who have shaped and supported us. So once again, like in our month of gratitude, we are getting into that second aspect of gratitude. We noted several episodes ago, relational gratitude, and we talked about it last episode. And I love this aspect of gratitude and applying it in this way because it not just helps us go beyond what can be a transactional relationship with gratitude. Sometimes, I'm grateful because you did me a favor or gave me a gift. But by naming and thanking these capital M mothers in our lives, when we do that, I think it gives us an immediate realization. And it's this: none of us became who we are on our own. Every part of us has been influenced, nurtured, supported by others. Some of those people we remember vividly, others we may barely recall, but we know this. We are influenced deeply by the mothers in our lives, by everyone in our lives. This kind of application of gratitude is inspired, or it inspired me anyway, from some of the work of Dr. Donald Winnicott, who was an English pediatrician and psychoanalyst in the mid-20th century. He's best known for introducing one of my favorite concepts called good enough parenting, or the good enough parent.
Every parent listening should take note of that.
God, yes.
That concept.
So not the perfect parent, not the mother or father of the year, but the making mistakes, trying their best, ordinary, loving caregiver who shows up, shows up the best they can day after day with enough love and care to help a child grow.
When I was in my psychiatry training, I was really influenced by Winnicott and by this concept of the good enough parent.
Yeah.
At the time, it was a big theme, it seemed like, at least in the place where I did my training. And believe it or not, there was a time not that long ago, actually, when in the field of psychiatry and even psychoanalysis, mothers got blamed for almost everything that went wrong with their kids.
What's new, huh?
Oh my gosh. Even schizophrenia, which, seems pretty obvious now that it's a very strongly biological and genetically based illness. Right. But there was a time when the theory was that was caused by inadequate or overbearing mothering. And there was even a name for this, the schizophrenogenic mother. And Winnicott, who you referred to, was one of those whose writing really called this into question. It was very, very influential, just an important antidote to the prevailing beliefs at the time. And it was pretty radical at that time to give mothers a break and just to suggest that they didn't cause their kids' mental illness. And also just to suggest that mothers or fathers didn't have to be perfect. They just needed to be good enough. I think anyone who's ever had a hand in raising a child knows there's no way you're going to do everything right. There's just no way, and you don't have to. You just need to do enough so that little one feels safe and secure. They feel seen and appreciated for who they are, and they know they're loved even though they're not perfect either. By the way, there's similar things that we need as adults, aren't they?
Oh, God, right. Never changes.
But kids, they're so darn resilient that they're going to be fine with just a few of the basic things, and largely kind of getting out of their way and letting them do their thing.
Yeah. Yeah. The schizophrenic mother hypothesis. I'm just like imagining back in that day too. This was big in the 50s and 60s when but a bunch of guys, researchers.
There was a bunch of guys. It was all old guys.
Yeah, fiddling in their labs, not at home, helping with childcare, can I add? And they're like, oh, my kid is a real a-hole or whatever. And, I don't like my kid. And I wonder what could be the cause. Oh, well, it's going to be my wife. She's the cause of it. And there was the refrigerator mother. That was another one that was
I don't know about that.
The cause of autism were refrigerator mothers. So those were mothers who were cold.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there was a type of mother for every mental illness, right? So that was the cause. And then, and the methodology for these studies was terrible. So it's not like we're just discounting good research. This was crappy research done by some guys.
You're just going to leave it at that.
Just going to say guys. And I'm glad Winnicott said something because I don't know, maybe we'd still be blaming moms for things that aren't legit, which yes, that still happens. But you noted what kids need. Yes. Feeling safe, secure, seen, appreciated. That's what we all need. Loved and not being that perfect parent. I just love Winnicott's work on this because it also, what I thought was really interesting is it doesn't dismiss the impact that adults have on kids. There's a ton of epidemiological research here that has shown that kids living in homes with an adult with what I think should be more precisely described as untreated mental health issues or unsuccessfully treated or undertreated, those kids are more likely to have mental health issues too. Kids' mental health issues also can improve by treating the adult's mental health issues, which is profound, right? The interconnection here. That's powerful to consider. Back to the schizophrenic mother hypothesis. Again, I get that this was happening before we had large data sets and more insight and technology into these conditions. But I still think the point here was to take something really complex, like schizophrenia at that time, and find a single culprit. That's what, trying to do. So there is an impact here, yes. But it's just not that simple. It's not causal. These aren't direct relationships. A parent's depression doesn't cause a kid's depression. There's a relationship there, but there's so much more happening with depression, so many factors. And Winnicott saw that yes, parenting, caregiving matters, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Good enough, with safety and love being the focus, is good enough. And he also had a really important insight that not only are we unfairly blaming mothers, the bigger problem may actually be that we are not appreciating the mothers enough in our lives. And I want to share some of his thoughts here, some of his writings. It's from his book, Winnicott on the Child. I'm going to take some sections. It seems to me that there is something missing in human society. Children grow up and become, in their turn, fathers and mothers, but on the whole, they do not grow up to know and acknowledge just what their mothers did for them at the start. Is not this contribution of the devoted mother unrecognized precisely because it is immense? If this contribution is accepted, it follows that every man or woman who is sane, every man or woman who has the feeling of being a person in the world, and for whom the world means something, every happy person is in infinite debt to a woman. If our society delays making full acknowledgement of this dependence, which is a historical fact in the initial stage of development of every individual, there must remain a block both to progress and to regression, a block that is based on fear. If there is no true recognition of the mother's part, then there must remain a vague fear of dependence. This fear will sometimes take the form of a fear of woman or fear of a woman, and at other times will take less easily recognized forms always, including the fear of domination. Unfortunately, the fear of domination does not lead groups of people to avoid being dominated. On the contrary, it draws them towards a specific or chosen domination. Indeed, were the psychology of the dictator studied, one would expect to find that, amongst other things, he, in his own personal struggle, is trying to control the woman whose domination he unconsciously fears, trying to control her by encompassing her, acting for her, and in turn demanding total subjection and love. This is feeling close to home. Right? So Winnicott is warning us that if we don't acknowledge our dependence on the loving care and support of mothers, then we let a fear of dependence seed in us, and it grows. And he sees it as the roots of misogyny, sexism, even authoritarianism. And I think Winnicott would agree. There's dependence in just the fact that a mom grew us and birthed us. We have to acknowledge that he did in his writings. And there are so many mothers in our worlds, other folks who nurture us in other ways. Acknowledging them is essential too. And when we have that fear of dependence, it can show up as an aversion to vulnerability. Like discomfort with asking for help. And in more extreme cases, he's saying it can manifest as domination and control over, right? The attempt to bury our fear of dependence by taking power over others. So in short, failing to feel gratitude for the ones who shaped us doesn't just affect our personal lives, it affects whole cultures. This is like a huge interpretation that he had brought up. I think he's onto something. I just love it.
Yeah, I really like the way that Winnicott turns this thing on its head. So instead of saying that anyone who develops mental health problems can blame it on their mothers, he's basically saying that anyone who's emotionally healthy can thank their mothers for it.
That's right.
And I also like what you're doing, Amy, by kind of broadening the idea of mother to include all of those who help nurture and shape us. Because there were a lot of them for every one of us.
Yeah.
I suppose I might personally change the focus from one of on dependence to the idea of interdependence. It's true, when we're very young, we are incredibly dependent on those around us. And there's a way in which that never ends, I guess. We do continue to need others, and they continue to need us. That's kind of the point, is that there's this never-ending web of connection and mutuality going both ways. And I think if we see that, when we really see that, we can all feel grateful for it. And we can realize how much we all have in common.
Yeah.
You're kind of getting at the bigger societal challenges that we're all very much aware of. And I think that right now, we could all use a healthy dose of the awareness of how interdependent we are. Right now at this point in time. It would be helpful for us. Because I think that breaks down this sense of division, this us versus them idea. And, as I think about it, I like how the idea that we all needed mothers and we still need them puts us all in the same boat. We all have the same few basic needs. We share the common roots of our humanity. And one of them is that we can and should be grateful for all of the good mothering that we've received.
Yeah, I'm thinking a little bit about last episode when we were talking about the characters that we channel to engage in healthier self-talk. A loving mother would be a great one to bring into that practice. Yeah. If folks have other thoughts about Winnicott and sort of taking it into this like global practice of gratitude, love to hear them. Share your thoughts with us. I think that this big picture look at gratitude is really powerful. I think it's what Winnicott is pointing out, that when we truly acknowledge these mothers as well, it often leads us to pay it forward. So we're more likely to extend that loving care to those around us, as you're saying, Henry, to soothe, to ease some of this feeling of disconnection and the divisions that we feel, that separateness, because we recognize how much of ourselves came from someone else's care. Like we recognize that and then we offer it up as well. So yeah, this week, identify some of your mothers. You can engage in that self-talk practice, channel a loving mother in a character in your mind. Let them speak to you with that love and care that you deserve, no matter what, all the time. Absolutely. And maybe even like literally call out some of the mothers in your life, text them, email them. I hate to say, call your mother. Oh my God.
But that is kind of what you're saying.
Oh no. Oh my God. Yep. Maybe call your mom. I don't know. But
why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Let them know. And whatever mom, an auntie, a neighbor, like whoever, let them know how they help shape you and how you're grateful for them. It matters a lot. Or maybe just take a quiet moment to honor someone who's no longer here, who supported you, who nurtured you. I think that practice also like transcends time and space. Gratitude never expires. That gratitude, even if the person is gone, is not a wasted acknowledgement. It goes out and it creates good as well in you and in the world. So I want to close this with a little motivation, a little wisdom from, of course, Rumi, who we quote often. Here it is. We are born of love. Love is our mother.
Thank you for listening to the Joy Lab podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, visit joylab.coach to learn more about the full Joy Lab program. Be sure to rate and review us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Please remember that this content is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not intended to provide medical advice and is not a replacement for advice and treatment from a medical professional. Please consult your doctor or other qualified health professional before beginning any diet change, supplement, or lifestyle program. Please see our terms for more information.